The seventh phase of the FERRAO legacy. The FERRAOs moved to a new country and a new continent. One day, Cleo told me that she wanted to be a doctor and that a patient's relative would sponsor her. He was a Gador Tools businessman. He would come each morning and drive her to work and back in his big car. His name was Prakash Jalani. He was a good person and a CEO of Gedor Tools, a reputed firm in Delhi. However, after a while, this did not materialize. I got to know from Cleo that Nika, who said something about Prakash Jalani. I prefer not to reveal this in my memoir. Then Cleo told me she wanted to pursue nursing in the US. A friend, Frank Fernandez, who worked in the US Embassy in Delhi, told me to contact lawyers based in US named Allen and K. Fulwani, joint attorneys. I connected with them and they set the ball rolling. I had to pay a sizable amount to get the job done from my savings in Delhi. We made several trips to US Embassy and Bombay. We finally got our green cards for the entire family. We had all the shots we needed. I had to leave my job as an accountant from 1969 to 1985. We did visit Goa and met with our parents before we left India. I had them tape their message for us and still have the tape with me before we left for US on March 31st, 1985. In the taped message, they mention that being the son of the family, I have full rights to the Agassine properties, along with the other siblings. I opened a bank account for both Dad and Mum separately, with a sizable amount in each Agassine bank as fixed deposit, and had the bank transfer a sizable amount to their regular account till their death for their daily expenses. When we were informed of their deaths, I paid for all funeral expenses for both with bank draft to Ben and Fatima. Ben took good care of Dad and Mum in their old age, as I used to send money as my share for help. The balance amount in the bank was kept by Ben and Fatima. I instructed them to spend it on house repairs that were needed at the time. We opened an account for Cleo's mum and dad in Ribandha Bank as well. We did our part for our parents in their old age, although we were in another continent. Linda and Ashok Jalani helped us get sponsors, Jack and Sandy Logue, who kept us in their house at Randolph for a month, after which we rented an apartment in Fields Corner. We brought groceries for them each week in return. Cleo, who worked at Carney Hospital, found a house in Dorchester on the notice board, and with the help from a nurse in Carney, Mary Carroll, we moved there with a sizable rent. Later, we were given the option to buy. I hired a lawyer, Mr. Sullivan, for the closing. We stayed at 3 Fendale Ave, Dorchester till year 2000. Cleo got a job close by at Carney Hospital, and with my thorough search around town, I found a great job at Boston Financial Data Services in the finance area. I achieved the President's Award at BFDS, and later in 1991, the office celebrated my US citizenship with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. I worked in the day and went to evening classes at Northeastern University. I finally got my bachelor's degree in accounting in 1997 and got a couple of awards. I moved on to a bigger company, State Street Bank, and took part in a Toastmaster program and gave speeches and won several awards such as Best Communicator, Best Leader, Best Speech. My early years in US was difficult, as I woke up early and did the paper route for Joshua, Joanne, and Melissa and opened joint accounts for each of them so they would have some money for their future in Bank of America. Melissa and Joanne still have those accounts. Joshua has his own account now. I dropped them to school, daycare, and after school came back from work and picked them up and took them home, then back to work. Later, I also picked up some of Mel's friends from their homes and dropped them to school. Cleo joined Visiting Nurses Association when she graduated from Northeastern University as well in 1995. I dropped her each day to work and picked her up. She later worked at Mattapan Community Center and currently is at Boston Medical Center as nurse practitioner as a part-time worker for twice a week. She did well in life earlier in graduating from Northeastern University and went on to become a nurse practitioner. She won several awards. Most notable was Mary Malone Award and Ken Swartz Award for Most Compassionate Caregiver in 2013. The entire family and friends were invited to a luncheon reception at the newly built Omni Center in Boston, where Cleo enthralled all with a heart-rending speech. Her achievements were also in the newspapers that next day. Ed and Nika from North Carolina came too. While tending to family, we also entertained Patyas Sipi from Bombay, who came on a trip from India, and we paid for his trip to Disney. I also helped several Indian legal immigrants find jobs, especially Mrs. Menezes and Aloysius Sequeira. Later, I helped Victor D'Souza. He constantly called me each day at my office to find him a job. He lived in New Jersey with relatives, but wanted to come to Boston to stay with us. I finally got him a job as security guard. He was too nervous that I had to fill in his application for the job and sign the application for him. We kept him and his wife Teresa in our house at Fendale Ave. After a month, I told him to find an apartment to live as they had to move on. They were reluctant to leave as they were nervous to be on their own, but were able to find a two-room apartment. Victor even knelt with folded hands and asked me not to send him away. That was not to be. We provided them with a big mattress so they did not have to sleep on their floor. In their apartment, we provided them with chairs and table, crockeries, cutleries, and TV and other items. After that, we have not heard from them since. Such is life. I recently heard from Yolanda, a distant friend at New Zealand, that Victor died suddenly. May he rest in peace. We became parishioners of St. Gregory's in the year 2000. I had an offer from State Street Bank to manage a company in Florida. We had a family meeting and decided to move on from Fendale Ave, Dorchester, to Jacksonville, Florida. My office paid for our temporary stay in a hotel by the beach. Then the historic event occurred. As being manager, I had to handle the situation of September 11, 2001 with staff. Within some months, Joshua and Melissa returned back to Boston as they did not like Florida. Cleo missed Boston and children, and I requested my office to have me return back to Boston. We had a beautiful house in Florida, but I had to sell it. I had to rent a truck that I drove all the way from Florida to Boston. This was the longest drive I've ever had to encounter in my life all by myself. We had to stay in a lodge overnight due to the long trip. I was lucky to get my old job back, and we lived in a condo unit at 10 Western Ave. I was elected as treasurer at the Board of Trustees. We embraced a new parish in St. Anne's. In 2018, we got a better place and a good offer to sell this condo, and through agent Angela Ponte, lived at 87 Franklin Street. However, Joanne found the elevator too noisy near her room and street noise that bothered us. Through Redfin agent, we finally moved to Weymouth. So far, the place is good except for the commute. Since coming to the US as citizens, we visited India 3 times. The first was in 1989 to celebrate our parents' Golden Jubilee. I was the MC. The second time was in 2004. We went to Goa to celebrate Fabiola's wedding. Third time we went to celebrate Maneka's wedding in 2010. Each trip cost us a sizable amount of money. We also provided them with cash and expensive gifts as the wedding gifts. We handled it though, which demonstrates our love for family. Each time we were in Goa, we provided a dinner party for the entire family at Mandovi Hotel in Panjim. During each time we visited Delhi and Bombay, Noel and Audrey were good to us in Bombay, entertaining us at their home. Even in Delhi, several people invited us over to their homes. Even Mrs. Mehra was so good to me it made me her brother for life. We stayed in their house per her insistence. Within a year, Melissa got married to Andrew Warren. Marcella came from India for the wedding with Maneka, her daughter, as she wanted to deliver her child in US. As Maneka told me, life in Bahrain has no future for her children. We help them a great deal daily by driving them all over town, especially to BMC, Boston Medical Center, to deliver the baby, and to the airport and back to their apartment. We invited them to dinner several times to our home. The wedding of Mel and Drew at St. Gregory Church and reception at Neighborhood Place in Quincy was grand in every respect. I also sang a song, Hawaiian wedding song. It was a memorable wedding, and the people invited had great reviews. As family, we took the children to several trips each summer vacation to different parts of the country. As a couple later in life, we visited India, England, Israel, Italy, Canada, and other places around US, especially Disney World. All our cousins in England and friends and relatives in Canada, Bombay, Delhi, and North Carolina were so gracious and welcomed us all with open arms. We felt so much at home everywhere we went. I cannot take any names as this would take too long. We are grateful to one and all. This concludes our 7th phase of the FERRAO legacy. Thank you.